you are a homeschooler from the 2nd to 5th year, this is for you. If you are a first-year homeschooler, or you're the homeschool curious, or you're thinking you're going to homeschool in the fall, let me know because I have a special gift for you. But if you're a homeschooler between the 2nd and 4th or 5th year, this is for you. This is what I've seen over the past few years when I'm intentional about coaching. I've been coaching since the beginning of my homeschool years, really since about my nursing years, which is before I had a child. But official coaching years, the last few years, have seen distinct seasons for homeschool families, parents, how they're approaching their homeschool, what they're experiencing in their homeschool. The first year, well, it is all unique. And I actually just came off a reel or a live or both on Instagram talking about first-year homeschool moms. So if you aren't already on my homeschool Instagram account, you can head over there. But if you are a 2nd to 5th homeschool mama, these are the things that I see are the biggest challenges typically in our homeschool lives at that time. I'd love it if you would put your biggest challenges in the comment section down below before I say the ones that I am seeing on repeat. Okay, so if these are the 3 that you identify with, I'd also love to hear that. But this is the first one. It is not homeschooling at all. In our 2nd to 5th years, we begin to identify that things are really not working for us, but we can't quite figure out why. If you were to sit down and have a chat with me, or you'd have a chat with another homeschool veteran or seasoned homeschool mom, as we call them, then you might discover that it's not about homeschooling. It's not almost ever about homeschooling. Sometimes we need to reframe how we think about what an education is. We have to come away from these traditional schooled mindsets that really don't serve our children or us in our homeschools. And that's one of the 3. It's deschooling, learning to deschool, coming away from those unhelpful homeschooled mindsets that keep perpetuating into infinity and beyond that there is one right way to homeschool. There's not. Or a methodology or a philosophy that would seem ideal. You've not tried X philosophy, so maybe it's that one. It's not. Or that curriculum. It's not, thank goodness, because that would save you money right there. Although, if you are a classic homeschool mom, which I am, you have way too much curriculum, and it's because you kept searching for the next right curriculum. Also, routines. There's no ideal routine. There is not one that's fixed either, because your kids keep growing, you keep changing, you're not going to find the routine that's perfect either. So your commitment isn't to a method. It's not to the curriculum. It's not to the routine or a planner or any of those things. It's to your child. And when you can deschool, you come away from all the traditional schooled mindsets and you focus on what's the most important thing, your relationship with your child and who they are as a person and how they learn. Simplified. So deschooling is the number 1. The second one is kind of on the tails of deschooling. It is that child-led learning. I don't know what I would want to call the idea of homeschooling that I think is the most ideal, and there's a reason for that, because I don't actually think I can replicate it in your home. Even if you and I coach together, I'm not going to take what I did and help you do what I did, because I know that you are different than me, and your kids are different than mine. Your perspective on what an education is different. Your worldview, everything might be different from how I see things. I'm not here to replicate my version of what a school or a homeschool should be in your home. So I don't even want to call it child-led learning or self-directed learning or unschooled or Charlotte Mason or Waldorf or Montessori. They're all cool. We can learn from all of them. And some of them just ring truer for us than others, but none of them is the one right way to do it. And yet leaning in to child-led learning will bring us a lot of freedom and a whole lot less pushback typically from our child. Leaning into child-led learning means that we're learning about our child. Maybe they are neurodivergent, but do you know, that's kind of an overused thing out there right now, because what is neurodivergent? Even in the neurodivergent world, it's so diverged. There's so much diversion. There's so much difference. That's what I'm trying to say. There's so much difference between neurodivergent, and same thing with the kids that are not neurodiverse. There's also a lot of difference. We're trying to focus in and learn about that specific child and what they need. And not only do we learn and have to learn what they're doing or how they're processing, we also have to recognize that what is today is not going to be what it is next year. And also, same for you. And that is my third thought. The third thing, but probably the most important thing that I see with homeschool moms, the thing that they find most challenging is your big emotions. Sometimes that means you have a lot of anxiety and you're not quite sure how to deal with your doubt, or you're not quite sure how to just do your homeschool routine without feeling like you're never getting enough done, or you're always behind something, or you want to do more and you can't. Maybe you're angry a lot more than you thought you would be because things aren't going the way that you want, or has nothing to do with homeschooling, and you have some things that you want or know you probably should be addressing, and you're not, because it's a lot of work and it requires a lot of personal heavy lifting. Maybe it requires therapy, maybe it requires coaching, maybe it just requires a regular journaling routine to do your own self-coaching. But there's a lot of something going on in here, and you cannot ignore it. Oh, you can. But when you do, you actually create a whole bunch of suffering when you're homeschooling and making everything more difficult. So whether it's doubt or anger, or it doesn't matter what the big emotion is, when we get into patterns of uncomfortable emotions and not addressing them or not having a plan for them, we stir up a whole bunch of trouble with our kids. We stir up a whole bunch of trouble with our unrealistic expectations, or fueling our not good enough feelings, or you fill in the blank. But those three things, dealing with our big emotions, learning to get outside of a traditional schooled mindset, and leaning into the child-led learning instead of one right way of homeschooling, are the three different things that I see that most second to fourth year homeschoolers are challenged with. If you're interested in chatting with me, you're welcome to. I typically reserve Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons to chat with you. You can ask me for a booking link and we can connect. I hope you have a great week.